Hi, my name is Dale. I'm the head of brand here at Airfix. Let's take a look at the 2023 product range. This year we introduced a brand new category to our Quickbuild range, London Transport. The first is this brand new London taxi containing 45 parts and moulded in black. And it wouldn't be complete without this TfL New London bus, the largest Quickbuild model to date, containing 88 parts. We've given the next two products a new paint job. The McLaren P1 will soon be available in white, and the Lamborghini Aventador changes to this stunning yellow. "2023 marks the 80th anniversary of Operation Chastise, also known as the Dam Buster Raids. The daring raids were carried out by 617 Squadron to breach 3 German dams using specially developed bouncing bombs attached to modified Avro Lancasters. The crew became known as the Dam Busters. To mark the anniversary, we are releasing an 80th anniversary gift set. This set will include a brand new design and tool F35B Lightning II and our classic Lancaster B3 Special, both in 1/72 scale. This set includes aircraft display stands, bouncing bomb trolley for the Lancaster, and of course paints, glues and brushes, everything needed to get started. Utilising the new F35B tooling, we've paired it up with a starter set Spitfire to create this then and now gift set. Both aircraft represent the pinnacle of design of their age. The F35B will also be available in a standalone starter set, complementing our Spitfire Mark 5C and Red Arrow Hawk set. Moving away from aircraft, we're expanding our 1/41st scale range of starter set cars. The first is this superb scale replica of the McLaren 765 LT. The finished item will be moulded in the base colour orange, meaning starters don't need to apply paint to finish the model. This model contains just 35 pieces. Next we have the Lamborghini Huracan Evo, again in 43rd scale and containing just 36 parts. This kit will be moulded in its base colour white. Moving to classic vehicles, and to complement the 2022 release of the Jaguar E-Type, this year we plan to release the Aston Martin DB5 starter set. This kit will include 29 pieces and be moulded in grey plastic. Next we have this classic Land Rover Series 1 pickup. This utilitarian vehicle is recognised worldwide and wouldn't be out of place in any agriculture setting today. This new 43rd scale tool will contain 39 parts and be moulded in grey plastic. A frequently requested kit in 1/48 scale, it was only a matter of time before we added it to our range. The 1/48 scale Fairy Gannet. The Fairy Gannet AS1, AS4 will sit perfectly next to your Buccaneer released last year. Designed to meet the Admiralty's requirement for an aircraft that could both search for and strike enemy submarines. The Gannet entered service in 1954 and the ASW variant stayed in service until the mid-1960s, where it was then replaced. Some were then converted to perform COD duties or perform the ECM role. Included as a build option is the Z folding wing design, which is perhaps one of the most unusual and ingenious features of the Gannet, allowing it to operate from tightly packed carrier decks. The kit includes options to build the wings folded as well as down. The Gannet used a double Mamba power plant, essentially 2 engines, each powering one of the contra-rotating propellers. The Gannet could shut down one engine in flight to extend the aircraft range. The kit will include a wide range of weapons and 3 fully detailed cockpits. The schemes in this boxing focus on its service with the Royal Navy, but also served with the Australians, Germans and Indonesians. The A scheme depicts XA460 and AS4 before conversion to an ECM6. B scheme depicts XA418 of 815 Naval Air Squadron, whilst based on HMS Ark Royal in 1958. It features distinctive blue and white markings on the spinner. C scheme depicts XA391 of 820 Naval Air Squadron that was operating from HMS Bulwark in 1957. The aircraft experienced engine trouble and had to ditch into the sea off the coast of Northern Ireland. It was recovered but deemed beyond economical repair. A new addition to our 1/35 scale armour range, the Ferret Scout Car Mark II. The Ferret built on the success of its predecessor, the Dingo, and was designed to fulfil a British Army requirement for a reconnaissance car that was issued in 1949. The Mark II was designed to mount a Browning machine gun within the turret. This offered the crew better protection but also raised the height of the vehicle and decreased the crew when compared to the Mark I. The Ferret was used by the British Army for a number of roles, entering service in 1952 and not leaving British service until after the First Gulf War in 1991. However, the Ferret is widely exported and as such is still in use by various armed forces around the world today. This kit will include a traversing turret with Browning machine gun, some interior detail and opening hatches. A scheme represents a Ferret that served in West Berlin during the Cold War. This particular Ferret was used to escort a local schoolboy to and from school after he was harassed by East German guards. B scheme shows a lesser known side to the Ferret. It was employed as a range safety vehicle at Bathurst, Canada. The vehicle was painted red in certain areas to ensure it stood out, hopefully preventing any friendly fire incidents. C scheme depicts a vehicle stationed in Cyprus belonging to 5 Power, used for peacekeeping missions. Our next release pairs up perfectly with many of our 1/35th scale armour range, our British Army 4x2 general service truck. This kit includes a fully detailed chassis, fully detailed cab interior with clear moulded windows, separate cab doors that can be posed open or closed, 2 decal options, and a total of 174 parts. Following on from the 1/48 scale Buccaneer released in 2022, this year we released the S2B variant, the RAF edition. This kit will include additional parts to cater for the various upgrades and changes seen when the aircraft changed hands. These include a bulged bomb bay, RAF slipper tanks, and various armament additions and more. There will be 4 schemes included in this boxing, allowing the modeller to represent either an early S2B type with D-type roundels, an aircraft partaking in Operation Red Flag, a 12th Squadron aircraft undertaking anti-shipping roles, and a Gulf War scheme. Our third release of this 1/48 scale Hunter tooling. This issue will include various new parts. The FR10 nose, enlarged drop tanks for the FGA-9, and modified flaps. In addition, we have also corrected the base kit to ensure the release is as accurate as possible. Our stunning box art depicts Alan Pollock's aircraft flying through Tower Bridge, April 1968. Following on from the 2021 release of the 1/72nd scale Mosquito B16. New parts have been added to create this PR16 variant. This kit will include new parts to replace the bomb bay and other detail changes. We'll include 2 schemes with this release, and the box art depicts a 60 Squadron aircraft returning to base over the Alps after a mission into Germany. Our range of classic kits sees a number of reintroductions, new liveries and new tools. A reintroduction to the 1/72nd scale range, this P51D Mustang with new decal options. The box art depicts Pauline of 505 Fighter Squadron shooting down an FW-190 that had attacked the squadron close to Paris on return from a bomber escort mission. A new scheme for 2023. This 1/72nd scale Zero will change to an example dogfighting with an A-24 Banshee during the Japanese invasion of Bali in 1942. Our 2020 tooling, the Spitfire Mark 5C, has been given a refresh with 2 new schemes. The first scheme depicted on the box front is EE-602 escorting a B-17 returning home from a raid. This particular aircraft, Memphis Belle, was returning from her famous 25th mission. EE-602 is now flown by Biggin Hill Heritage Hangar. This kit will include 2 schemes that utilise the tropical filter and clip wings included within the kit. Initially released last year, the Hawker Tempest Mark V will include new parts and decal options to create the post-war variant. A scheme depicts XCD SN228 flying along the south coast of England. A straight reintroduction, this 1/72nd scale NAT T1 is making a reappearance back into the range for 2023. The 2010 tooling of this 1/72nd scale Messerschmitt Bf110E Tropical is returning to the range with new schemes. A scheme and the box art depicts the 110 patrolling the sea around North Africa on an anti-shipping mission. The 1/72nd scale Messerschmitt 262A returns to the range with 2 new schemes. Both represent aircraft that were later captured during service at the end of the war. This release includes parts for the fighter and bomber variants of the 262. Adding to the range of our 1/72nd scale Harriers, the Hawker Siddeley Harrier GR1 AV8A is being reintroduced to the range with new schemes. A scheme shows XV795 of 1 Squadron, which took part in deck handling trials aboard HMS Ark Royal in 1971. B scheme is that of an AV8A of US Marine Corps wearing a temporary Arctic camouflage. This will be the first time we've included parts and schemes for a GR1 and AV8A together. The North American B-25 Mitchell returns in 1/72nd scale with new schemes. A scheme is that of OH-7, which flew over 80 missions in North Africa and Italy between 1943 and 1944. B scheme is a B-25 provided to the Red Air Force under the Lend-Lease programme and features distinctive nose art. A combination of frames from previous releases. This issue of the 1/72nd scale Phantom FG1 and FGR2 allows for 3 unique schemes. A scheme shows a special scheme applied to XV470 featuring a rather aggressive looking shark mouth. B scheme is an aircraft of 892 Naval Air Squadron that was zapped by crews of the USS Saratoga during a short stay aboard. C scheme has previously been featured in an earlier boxing when it became known as Black Mike. XV582 is seen in the kit wearing the colours it wore during the Land's End to John O'Groat's record-breaking flight. The last variant to be issued of our fairly recent tooling, the Blackburn Buccaneer S2B with Gulf War schemes and weapons. The 1/72nd scale Vickers Wellington Mark I features new decal options. A scheme depicts N2871, an aircraft that made an emergency landing at North Coats after sustaining damage. B scheme features a Luftwaffe captured example. Refreshed in time for the 80th anniversary of Operation Chastise, the 1/72nd scale Avro Lancaster B3 Special will feature new schemes, one of which is Guy Gibson's aircraft, ED932. The second release of this 2019 tooling, the de Havilland Tiger Moth in 1/48 scale. Box art depicts an aircraft of the Britannia flight that landed on HMS Eagle in 1964, becoming possibly the last biplane to land on a British carrier. Next, our 148th Hawker Sea Fury FB11, a 2018 tooling and making its third appearance in the range. There are 3 schemes included within this release. Spencer Flack's G Fury, and a scheme showing the temporary markings applied to 8131 Squadron, Royal Navy Reserves for Operation Momentum. The box art will show one of the last Sea Furies in service with the Fleet Air Arm of the Royal Australian Navy. Utilising parts included in various releases, we're now able to release the 1/48 scale de Havilland Vampire FB5 and FB9 kit. The 1/48 scale Gloucester Meteor F8 sees a return to the range with new scheme options. A scheme is that of WL181 and part of the short-lived Evergreen display team. B scheme is an aircraft from the Royal Australian Air Force display team, the Meteorites. Both of these aircraft are preserved at opposite sides of the world. And now onto our ever-growing vintage classic range. First produced in 1958 and last seen in the range in 2004, the Oster Antarctic in 1/72nd scale. This kit represents a converted Oster T7 aircraft from the Commonwealth Transatlantic Expedition. Clear parts of this kit have been reverse engineered and are new moulds, meaning they will be better than ever before. Last released in 2008, the 1/72nd scale Brewster Buffalo was first introduced into the Airfix range in 1972. The Buffalo will include a Royal Australian Air Force and US Navy schemes. A first with the vintage classic range, we're bringing back an early dogfight double pairing, the Fokker DR1 and Bristol Fighter, first introduced in 1963 and last seen as a pair in 2001. Last seen in the Airfix range some 25 years ago in 1996, the 1/72nd scale Fairy Rotodyne is a unique Airfix tool and of an iconic experimental design. The Rotodyne was first introduced back in 1959. This vintage classic super kit was first introduced in 1975 and last seen in the range in 2011. This kit will be released with original uncensored box art. The built model is 57 cm wide and 46 long and will include 2 decal options. Last seen in the range in 2008 and introduced in 1960, the Bristol Bloodhound surface-to-air missile served as the UK's main air defence weapon. This model kit includes a 76 scale Land Rover and figures. One of the most requested vintage classic kits, the 1/32 scale Bond Bug. The vintage classic kit was last seen in the range in 1975 after being introduced in 1971. The tooling was considered missing for a number of years, but yet here it is making a comeback. Having said that, the clear parts have been reverse engineered, tweaked, and a whole new clear tool has been created to enable us to release this kit. Brunel's famous paddle steamer launched in 1837 and making its transatlantic crossing in 1838. This 1/180th scale kit was first released in 1968 and was last seen in the range in 2006. The kit will include original vac form sails. That's it for now, thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to this video for future updates on our product range.